Hello to YouTube. I'd like to discuss some findings on the subject of the Grenfell Tower block fire. First of all, my heart goes out to all those people who've perished and their family and friends, and I could just say it should be a public inquest, not a government inquiry. Families need to be able to demand answers from those responsible. And it seems obvious now that the area has been allowed to decline deliberately in order to justify the 67 million regeneration scheme in place. And of course, regeneration is just another word for demolition. They're even talking about pulling down tower blocks, which some might see as an improvement, but not for the poor, the working class. They'll be shunted off into areas away from family and friends and the community in order for the areas to be absorbed into the paradise for the wealthy. I believe that this fire has been deliberate and purposeful, that many people have lost their lives in what can only be described as a ritual sacrifice, the facts of which I will reveal shortly. There's no doubt that an upgrade of a building that includes unsafe cladding, yet no water sprinklers or proper fire safety measures is not accidental or neglect. It's premeditated. The fact that the residents repeatedly raised concerns over fire safety but they were met with threats of legal action is testimony to that. The fact that the building burned with no proper attempt to quell the flames or rescue. Why weren't there some helicopters there that could have sprayed water on the fire? A fire drill days before telling them to stay in their flats. And recommendations for water sprinklers in high-rise blocks by the fire department has been sat on by the government for years. Land grabs are happening globally because these elites are taking land from the poorest people. So we've got Ryden, who are the supply chain for the Ministry of Defence contracts, partnering with Aspire Defence. So they're no stranger to the government, who openly boast of being the country's leading regeneration developers and contractors, who subcontracted out the cladding to this Harley facade company, from which they charged 2.6 million, and the architects were Studio E architects. The work was to be carried out over a period of 66 weeks for the 24-storey building. The CEO of Ryden is Robert Bond. The company's got two offshore companies as shareholders, JTC Trustees and Computershare, whose directors, management, etc. are mostly ex-bankers. And he started a new company just weeks ago. For those of you who watched my last video, I mentioned that when a significant event happens, that anything that gets worldwide attention, I always look at the online Shabbat, which is the Ashkenazi Jewish practices and studies, etc. But on this day, on the day of the fire in the Jewish history, it talked of the martyrs of Blois, B-L-O-I-S. Blois is in France, and on that day, they commemorate 30 Jews being burned publicly by the Christians. And lo and behold, what does the mainstream media say today? The police claiming 30 people have died. Now, we all know there's going to be hundreds of people have died, so the reason they're giving these figures, I believe, is to do with this ritual. So the writings in the Chabad for that day of the fire are quite extraordinary when you think what happened. Daily study, Numbers chapter 15 talks of making a fire offering, a burnt offering or a sacrifice. Psalm chapter 97, fire will go before him and consume his foes and mountains and melting like wax. Chapter 102, for my days have vanished with smoke, my bones dried up as hearth, as in H-E-A-R-T-H. It also talks of the consecration of water and ritual impurities. It talks of large pipes, even though water passes through it, are pure because it was not intended to contain water. It talks of a container sealed, closed in a building where a corpse is located. It talks of basically the origins of Keeling, which is the Talmud sites. Anything that cannot be placed in fire should be passed through water. So certain things have to be ritually immersed in water. So the Martyrs of Blois, which is significant on this day in France, 846 years ago, is next to a place called Grenoble. The residents of the city of Grenoble, next to Blois, are called Grenoblois. Grenoble was famous for glove manufacturing. Now, I just found this strange because this tower apparently had a boxing club underneath, so obviously gloves are going to be relevant to that. The Grenoblois also helped the Jewish community. How can it be a coincidence that the day of this ritual sacrifice by fire commemorating the death of 30 Jews now transpires to be the exact same number claimed to have died in this fire? How is it possible that only 30 people died? Where are all the survivors? It's clear to see that something is badly wrong. And I think I'll leave a link to a petition which is demanding that there be a public inquest rather than a inquiry, which would leave them behind closed doors. It needs to be public for the sake of the victims' families, who need to be able to question those involved, because as far as I'm concerned, this was premeditated. And my heart goes out to them poor souls. So I'm Annie Logical. Take care and I'll catch you soon.